Right.
the spinal cord, right? So all the nerves run through your spinal canal, and then at every single level of your spine, there's a pair of nerve roots that exit, and then they supply a particular part of the body or organs and certain cells, and so that's what they do. If you've got, let's just say, a spot that is jammed up for some reason, whether because, like I said, because you're sitting for prolonged periods of time, those joints then kind of don't move, they stiffen up, inflammation starts around those joint capsules. What a chiropractor is trained to do is then to identify that particular point and give what's called a chiropractic adjustment. And when I give that, in essence, you're restoring proper joint mobility there again. So you're freeing it up. So then it goes, oh, hey, now I'm moving much better. And when we move better, we stimulate something called mechanoreceptive input. And then that therefore decreases what's called nociception or pain. So we can decrease pain by getting you to move better.
Amazing. Hello. Yes, amazing. Episode 143, and it's really late at night where I'm at because we had to get up for Dr. Cody himself. Welcome to the show, Dr. Cody, in Australia. So, Dr. Cody, what kind of doctor are you?
So I'm a doctor of chiropractic. So
amazing. Okay. What I understood from about chiropracticity.
I haven't heard that one before yet. That
was pretty much, yeah. It's related to bones cracking in your body that are related to nervous systems, right? And how you feel. Is that all right?
That's
pretty much.
Very, very out version, but that's all right. In essence what it is.
If someone were to ask you, Dr. Cody, what about chiropractors? I don't know. I'm sorry.
We can just keep coming up with a whole bunch of different words.
About your profession. What is
yeah, there we go. In essence, it's just bones cracking in the nervous system. No, it's all about how all about how the body functions, and we just happen to use the spine mainly, but also the joints of the body, but to stimulate and get the nervous system functioning to the best of its ability.
Okay. Yeah. So pretty much what I want to learn from you is, what do you think is the optimal ability of the nervous system? So you say you want it to reach the best of its ability. Do you mean it like psychologically or physical health?
Everything.
What do you mean by it?
You think about it. The nervous system controls every single cell, organ, and tissue in the entire body. Okay. So if that's functioning properly, then your body should just exude health and wellness. And if you say, oh, I want to do this with whatever, your body should be able to respond and adapt properly.
Okay. As opposed to what do you mean? You're saying like people who have issues don't do the things they want to do, or?
Yeah, so there's like, if there's an injury present and there's an inflammation present, if let's just say you sprain your ankle, right. There's inflammation around the ankle, the tendons are now stretched and then they get inflamed. And then when you try to, like if you said, all right, I'm going to go run a marathon on a sprained ankle, your body is probably not going to be ready for that. So it's in a state of dis-ease. And we, in essence, want to help to speed up that healing process, so then you can get back into running that marathon without that sprained ankle.
Wow. And this metaphor relates to your functioning, like your what is like the direct relationship? What is the sprained ankle? And this,
the sprained ankle is anything, right? But people will come in and they're mainly in some form of discomfort. So pain is usually a good indicator to say something's not quite right. It doesn't tell you exactly what's not right. It just tells you that something isn't quite right.
Okay.
And then what we do is we do a whole series of different orthopedic tests, ranges of motion. We test reflexes, dermatome sensitivity. Yes, there's a whole slew of different tests that we can administer, muscle tests, and then that starts to hone in, and so we can find out exactly where the root of the problem is, and then correct that.
Okay.
Sometimes it is just telling people, stop sitting for 7 hours at a time. Sometimes it's move your body more. Sometimes it's, try to get some more sleep. Sometimes it's, eat better. Sometimes it's just drink some more water. Sometimes it's sleep on a better pillow. So there's a whole bunch of different things that contribute to ill health.
Okay. So when someone comes to you telling you I have pain issues,
Yep.
do you tell them all these things, or are you mostly there to like help them deal with the symptom, I guess, of pain?
Yeah, so I mean, we have to try to find out what's causing it.
Hmm.
Usually during the consultation, that's usually when most of the issues arise. So they'll kind of tell me, oh, well, I get low back pain, and it gets worse throughout the day because I'm sitting in front of my computer like this and not moving. Okay,
Right.
well, that has something to do with it.
Hmm.
So at least we can start to identify big contributing factors. Or they'll say, I only get it when I do this particular activity. Well, then I'm like, well, that's what's causing
Well,
it.
that's what's causing it, right? Pretty much. All right, and so you try to help them find out. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, pretty cool. And I want to ask you a little bit more about how it works. So, all these bones are being cracked. I've seen a bunch of them in the back or the arms and such. They How are they tied to your nervous system?
Yeah. So, I mean, in particular with the spine,
Okay,
the
right.
the spinal cord, right? So
Hmm.
all the nerves run through your spinal canal, and then at every single level of your spine, there's a pair of nerve roots that exit, and then they supply a particular part of the body or organs and certain cells, and so that's what they do.
Hmm.
If you've got, let's just say, a spot that is jammed up for some reason, whether because, like I said, because you're sitting for prolonged periods of time, those joints then kind of don't move, they stiffen up. Inflammation starts around those joint capsules. What a chiropractor is trained to do is then to identify that particular point and give what's called a chiropractic adjustment. So it's a high velocity, low amplitude thrust. There's a whole bunch of different techniques out there that you
Okay.
probably see a bunch of other chiropractors use.
Hmm.
I use and tailor it to each particular person. And when I give that, in essence, you're restoring proper joint mobility there again. So you're freeing it up. So then it goes, oh, hey, now I'm moving much better. And
I
when
see.
we move better, we
Mhm.
stimulate something called mechanoreceptive input. And then that therefore decreases what's called nociception or pain. So we can decrease pain by getting you to move better.
Decrease pain, get you to move better, live a better life, pretty much. All right.
That's
All
it. It's
right.
straightforward and easy.
Straightforward, easy. Do you think that most people need to see a chiropractor, or if you think you're healthy, pretty much? I feel like we all have back issues,
Yeah,
just
I mean, we
because of
do,
our
right?
lifestyle, right? Hmm.
That's right. So our lifestyles usually aren't overly conducive to have a proper functioning body.
Right.
It's not what we call genetically congruent. We're not giving our body exactly what it needs. Whether that's proper nutrition, sleep,
True.
eating properly, moving properly, all those kind of
Yep.
things. So, do I think that most people in the entire world would benefit from chiropractic care? Of course.
Okay.
Chiropractors are very good at working in kind of the health and prevention side of things. Medicine is very good at disease and treatment. It's kind of after the fact. You have to have something
Hmm.
go significantly wrong for them to intervene. And there's a time and a place for both, because some people work really well here most of the time. But let's just say you break your arm, don't come in and see me. Don't see a chiropractor. You know, go to the hospital, get your arm set, make sure everything's okay, get those
Right.
x-rays and make sure everything's all right.
Right.
So
Okay.
we really work nicely together.
I see. I see. Depends on what it is. All right.
Yep.
And I want to ask about the magical crack, the sweet crack that happens all the time when you go and you do the crack. Is it is the pain gone in that instance of the crack?
So sometimes people will feel immediate relief,
Right.
whether it's psychosomatic, whether it's in their head because they just heard the crack,
Right.
or because they actually
Mhm.
now it's freed up and they're moving better.
Mhm.
Some well, a lot of people after adjustments, then they'll kind of go like they'll do these weird little dance moves and go, oh yeah, that's heaps better. They start going like that, which is
Right. Mhm.
quite funny.
Uh-huh.
But ultimately, just sometimes it takes a little bit of time. It also depends on what they're coming in with, right? If
Mhm.
they're coming in with multiple level disc degeneration or joint degeneration, you're not going to get 100% relief after one adjustment. It's going to take some time. And even then, it depends on the severity. We have to be realistic in our approach with our patients as well. And sometimes, I tell them, hey, listen, I might be able to give you temporary relief, but what you have, I don't know if I'm going to be able to give you 100% relief. I'm quite honest and open and frank with people, and you have to be.
Right. Pretty much. All right, cool. And then I guess most of these people, their problems, you say, come from bad posture, sitting down too much. Do you notice that in yourself? Do you ever spend a lot of time on your phone or crouch down, or are you like more aware of it for yourself?
I do catch myself. Like
Okay.
I'll admit that I'm probably just as bad as the next.
Right, I can imagine. Right? Yeah.
But luckily, I don't spend hours and hours and hours and hours every single day on my phone. I've got
Right.
patients to help. So, and luckily with my job, I'm quite active. I'm up, I'm walking around, I'm moving, I'm doing these things. But does that put different strains on my body? Sure, of course it does. And I have, Dr. Kelsey here at the clinic as well, and we trade adjustments all the time. It's great. I've got chiropractic at my disposal.
That's really good.
And and ultimately, I should practice what I preach. If
Right.
you go to your chiropractor and you ask them, when's the last time you got adjusted? And if they go, oh, geez, well, I don't know. It's been a few years. That's not so good.
Right. Wow. Okay. That's a good insight. So how did you even get started with this whole business or medicine?
Yeah.
Right.
So I grew up in actually rural Minnesota. I grew up in a town of 349 people called Jeffers, Minnesota.
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
then I went to undergrad at University of Minnesota in Duluth, and I was studying biochemistry in the intent to go into pharmacy school. And then I had taken the PCAT, and I was about to, go to start applying for all these pharmacy schools. And I worked at a pharmacy, and it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't right. It didn't feel right.
Wow.
And I don't know why.
I mean,
how I thought about
working in a pharmacy is nice, from what I understand. Right? It's like sales. You talk to people, the medicine and whatnot.
Sure.
You help people, right? But it wasn't for you, right?
It wasn't for me. I wanted to take more of a natural approach anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so then before I knew it, I had applied for chiropractic school for early admission. I got accepted, and I was packing up my stuff and moving down to Minneapolis, where I went to Northwestern Health Sciences University and got my doctorate and finished up my bachelor's degree. So
Okay. All right.
It's been a bit of a whirlwind, but we got there.
Okay. So was it like you applied for this position, right? It wasn't just random, right? That happened to you. So what made you want to be like, okay, a pharmacy isn't for me. What about this thing? Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to help people. Genuinely, like that's kind of what I've really always wanted to do. And it was just what mode I used. And chiropractic just kind of presented itself. I'd been to a chiropractor before when I was younger, when I was a teenager. So I have experienced it before prior to me applying for chiropractic school. It's probably a good thing. But yeah, it just kind of, it just presented itself, and I went for it. I felt like this was where I was supposed to be going. This is what I was supposed to be doing.
Okay. And in that period, and the in-between period where you weren't so sure, right? I want to be a pharmacist, and now it's not working out for you. Was that like a confusing time for you? Did you know what you want to do in the future? Did you feel a little lost? How did you get out of that?
I never really felt lost.
Okay.
Ultimately, even from a very young age, I had some great support. My mom's great family, great community, where it was a matter of, Cody, you can do anything that you want to do. You're smart enough, you're ambitious enough, you're all of these things. And that was really great to get that support system there. And I think that's led me to where I am today. I mean, who would have thought that, long time ago, when I left Jeffers to go to university back in early 2000s, we'll say. And then now, 2021, here I am in Sydney, Australia with practice, helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and probably reaching millions of people
Yes,
through
through
my
that.
social media challenges.
It's
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, no, it really is amazing. So, I mean, goes to show that you really have to be supportive with the people around you, because even if they're
yeah,
not in a right spot right now, you want to encourage them for the future, right? That's
that's
really
right.
cool.
Of course.
That's really
Yeah.
cool. All right. And then you got into your practice, right? You started doing it. Let's say post college, you graduated. What took you to Sydney?
Oh, interesting, right?
Right.
I had an ex who studied abroad in Australia and spoke really highly of it. And so I thought maybe there was something to this place. So even just before I started chiropractic school, I started emailing random chiropractors in Australia. And I said, hey, I'm about to go into chiropractic school. What's it like there? And then we just started having dialogue back and forth. And maybe it was only, one message a month or something like that. But I kept in touch with them. And then I got to probably about my third year of chiropractic school. And I had a bit of a spring break or whatever it was. And then I thought, right, I'm going to go visit it. I'm going to go see what Australia is all about. So I hopped on a plane, landed. And as soon as that plane landed, it felt, I don't want to say like home, because nothing will ever feel like home, but it just felt like that's where I belonged, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yes.
And then
Mm-hmm.
I met with a couple of chiropractors, and I ended up having a couple job offers, one here in Sydney, one up in the Gold Coast. And then, so I already had something kind of in place before I even graduated. And then when I graduated, I was like, well, why not? What do I have to lose? If I hate it, I'll just come back.
Right. Because you already went through something you didn't like to do, and you're like, I can do something else now. So you feel like you can
Yeah.
try things. Wow, pretty cool. All right. Sounds good. And that's how it got started.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds good. All right. So now I want to hear more about your practice. So we talked a bit about like physical pain and how through cracking the spines and adjustment you can release that pain. Do you notice that for emotional stress as well, or emotional pain?
Yeah. So sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
people do come in, and pain kind of affects every aspect of life.
Right.
Certainly, it will kind of put you into a much more depressed, negative mood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and certainly, once you're feeling better and functioning better, everything gets better. So, I mean,
Right.
I don't really have too many people specifically that come to see me because of more emotional problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I can remember actually when I was an intern, this was in Minneapolis. I was an intern at a clinic, and I had this patient come in, and she would come in about once every, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes even longer than that. And she'd come in and see me, and she goes, Cody, I know it's time to come in and see you when my partner says, you need to go see Dr. Cody for an attitude adjustment.
Right.
Because her
Mm-hmm.
partner noted that every single time she would see me and get adjusted, she would come back home and she'd be so much happier. There you go.
There you go. Wow. Wow, it's true. Right. But does it go more than that? Like I'm sure like you've studied this, right? Is there a link? I mean, I'm sure there's a link between like your neural system and
Like,
your emotions. So could someone, if they were like anxious or stressed or depressed, come to someone like you for help?
sure. I definitely think that,
Mm-hmm.
and working in conjunction with other
Right.
healthcare as well, working
Okay.
with psychologists or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly chiropractic can have a big impact on that.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly when you give a spinal adjustment, you're stimulating the nervous system. Well, the nervous system goes up through the brain and stimulates different parts of the brain. So if we can stimulate those pleasure centers rather than all those kind of negative emotions, that will certainly help as well. Yeah.
Wow. That is kind of amazing, right? Yeah, that you can do that all like through the back and adjust and more.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I want to know from you, Dr. Cody, what are the things we're all doing wrong in our lives that are making our backs worse and worse? Yeah.
Well, a lot of times too, it's not just, one major big thing.
Right.
Certainly, like I said, posture. Ultimately, there's kind of, I call them like, there are kind of four key components.
Okay.
So there's kind of like this little vicious cycle that takes place. And when people start to not do at least maybe one thing or maybe a couple different things, it kind of spirals off and we get into kind of these negative cycles where sometimes it's hard for people to get kind of back on track with their health. So it's a matter of eating well,
Wow.
sleeping well,
Okay.
moving well, and thinking well. Now, that's something that Dr. James Chestnut talks about and preaches, but that's true. Like, if you can get all of those things fulfilled and met, your body functions perfectly and you're going through this beautiful, nice, positive cycle. And you're like, yeah, I got this. I got this. But then all of a sudden, you know what happens is like you have one really, let's just say, poor night's rest. So your sleep goes from beautiful, perfect 8 hours, deep sleep, loved it, to, oh, last night I only got 5 hours. Then you're already behind the 8 ball. Then usually what happens is, oh, I didn't wake up and go to the gym or do something like that. So now I'm not moving very much. Oh, I'm going to go sit at work. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm just going to fall asleep like this. So the problem is it's, then you're not probably eating very well. And you're like, oh, I'll just grab something that's processed, something not so great for you. So then this starts this little vicious cycle where then you're kind of doing a lot of bad things to your body, and then it's not giving you. And then of course, okay, so you get through that day and then you go to bed that night again. Well, because now you haven't moved very well, you didn't sleep really well the night before, you didn't eat really well, and now you've got these negative emotions because it was such a shitty day. So now you're not going to sleep very well again.
Right. You're self-destructive, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and most people, listen, ultimately, our bodies are pretty, we're pretty resilient. The human body is very resilient. We can throw a lot at it and it will handle it to a degree. It's just tipping it over that edge is where then problems start.
I see. Well, I mean, that's, I want to hear more, like, maybe you can have like from your work, right? What, from the more severe cases, what usually goes wrong for someone to really have like severe spinal injuries, right?
Yeah, so sometimes it's, the problem has been there for a long time. Yeah, some people come in with chronic problems that have been there for 10, 20, 30 years.
I see.
And that's challenging. It's really challenging to undo a lot of that damage. And sometimes it's irreversible. There's nothing that I can do as a chiropractor that will potentially get them back to the way they were. And again, I kind of say, this is reasonable to expect that instead of getting all the way back to 100%, maybe we'll get you to about there. Right. But sometimes it's trial and error, right? So, if they've been some kind of labor, some kind of job where it's very taxing on the body, where they're doing a lot of repetitive motions, it's quite taxing on the body. Are they going to develop degeneration, spinal joint degeneration earlier? Yeah, probably.
Wow.
That's a big contributing factor.
Yikes. Wow. Dr. Cody, I work in the film industry, right? Where we carry a lot of heavy film around, lights, cameras, stuff like that.
Yep.
What am I supposed to do to not hurt myself? Yeah.
Yeah. So then it goes back into kind of those four main things that you have to focus on. And it's making sure that, your diet's really good and that you're not kind of adding a lot of bad food to your body, because food is fuel for your body. And if you're saying, oh, I have to lug around all this heavy stuff, then making sure that you are lifting it properly. At the end of the day, instead of just going, oh, I'm exhausted, and then just sitting there and letting your body tighten up and then the inflammation to start, maybe do a few stretches, get on the foam roller.
Right. Okay.
So
do some stretches.
Yeah.
What kind of stretches? Just so that I'm gonna take it for practical advice here, right? Let's say I'm going to foam set.
You're getting a free consult right now. Is what you're getting.
Oh no, right? Yeah.
Specific ones just for me, please.
Oh no. Yeah, just because I feel like it's. I mean, it's good for people at home to know what are some things they can do to help themselves, right? I'm good. Yeah.
Ultimately, a stretch is just any range of motion.
I see.
So I just want you to move your body.
There you go.
Like I tell people, like if you enjoy doing yoga, do yoga. If you like Pilates, do Pilates. If you like swimming, swim. And all that is you're just moving your body in all these different ranges of motion. That's stretching.
There you go. Fine.
There's not one, there's not
Right.
like one amazing stretch that everyone should do.
Okay.
Everyone should just move more.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. Sounds good. Everyone just move more.
Yeah.
I love that message. No, because it's true, right? It's how you have a healthier body. Why do you care a lot about social media, about podcasting, right? A lot of doctors don't do that, right? You do that. You take the time to do that, right?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Why so?
Ultimately, my mission in life
Mm-hmm.
is to help as many people as I possibly can. Social media happens to be a fantastic way to reach more people. I used to think when I first started social media and posting kind of the videos that I do now, I used to think, well, it's nothing special. Everyone's seen a chiropractor before. Like, this isn't anything amazing. But then I've realized now through the past kind of year or so since I've been doing this, that there's a lot of people in the world that have no idea what chiropractors are and do. And I can understand how it's a little bit scary to see it for the first time, how shocking it is. But I think I've been able to at least capture the moment that people experience a chiropractic adjustment and how great they feel directly afterward.
Right.
And if I'm able to then say, hey, to all these random people around the world, hey, maybe this is something that would benefit you. And if they go and see a chiropractor and get help, I don't care if it's a chiropractor, they can see anyone for help. Great, then I've done my job. I've helped them in essence. And I think that there's a lot of healthcare providers out there that have this image about being, oh no, we have to do it this way because this is the way it's always been done. Well, if you think that way, you're going to be left in the dark ages. It is time that if we want to help more people, these are the social media. These are the vessels that we have to utilize to reach those people that need us.
Wow. All right. Amazing. Well, Dr. Cody, I really appreciate your time here. We ran out of time here. Thank you so much, really, for taking the time to do this. I learned a bunch about. It's really cool how you're. Well, it's really cool how you're taking this like medical knowledge and you're spreading it online for people to hear and learn more. So, really encourage you to keep doing that. Is there anything you'd like to shout out or say before we wrap up here?
Just everyone go on Instagram and TikTok and follow me at Dr. Cody_DC.
Amazing. There we go. Beep, beep, beep. Bio, yeah. And while you're at it, subscribe to A to the Show. Amazing. Leave the subscribe button below. This has been another episode of A to the Show. Thank you, Dr. Cody, once again, and peace out. Woo. Amazing.